everyone. This is the Big East version of our conference matchups, conference tournaments, the week before Selection Sunday, which is this Sunday. We're talking about the Big East. Villanova has a 1 seed in the latest bracket, mainly because everyone's sort of lost. It's kind of by default. But this tournament looks interesting. There's only 10 teams in it this year as opposed to 16, so there's not that double bye for some of the teams. Creighton and Villanova are the teams that have a bye. Creighton has been scoring on people all year. That's interesting, but what's your favorite matchup in the quarterfinals? Whether it's 4 or 5 or 1 to 8, it depends on who wins these 2 games. I think Georgetown will beat DePaul, and I think Seton Hall will beat Butler just because they're favored. You know, either team's not going to beat Villanova. But what's your matchup in the quarterfinals that you're going to look forward to seeing?
I think,
if any,
I don't know if I'm that excited about this tournament actually.
Except for maybe the championship.
The championship game, I think, is
only
going to be great.
If it ends up in Creighton Villanova.
Creighton Villanova.
Do you think that's how it's going to be?
Yeah, I just don't see any of these other teams really making any noise.
I think Xavier and Marquette both play similar, and so I think that could be a game that you watch the last 5 minutes of.
Yeah.
But other than that, I agree.
I think Xavier's coming out of that one, and I think it's going to be Creighton and Xavier.
Do you see Xavier having a chance to beat? I mean, they obviously have a chance, but
I just don't see it happening really.
And what a job by Creighton coming into this conference for the first year and getting the 2 seed in the regular season.
Yeah,
that's impressive. It's not the same Big East, but that's impressive.
I just think that this is a really top heavy conference. I think Creighton and Villanova are maybe not head and shoulders, but getting there. It might be head and shoulders above the rest of the field.
They're both top 3 seeds in the latest bracket.
Yeah, I really can't see any other team besides them going to the championship game and especially winning.
And the only other team in this tournament that's in the NCAA tournament right now for Joe Lunardi is Xavier. And they're an 11 seed.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think I really want to see Creighton Villanova. And I also think that I'm going to see Creighton Villanova. Yep. And that's a game I'm going to watch. I mean, Doug McDermott only has so many college games left.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a stud.
Yeah, he's just a scorer, man. He just knows how to put the ball in the basket in all sorts of ways. He's
we've talked about how much of an advantage that is at this time of year.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And he can shoot the 3. He can post up. He's a great slasher, great moving without the ball, and I think he's just going to be really dangerous in this tournament, especially, and moving forward in the NCAA tournament.
I don't like that matchup if I'm anyone.
Because I mean, look at what they did to Villanova in that first game.
Both games.
They just lit them up.
If Villanova won those 2 games, or won one of them, they would be a lock as a number 1 seed. But Creighton embarrassed them.
Yeah.
And the thing that
was great. They were shooting the lights out.
But that can happen. And you know how many teams can beat them when they're shooting that well?
None.
Not many, if none.
I mean,
none, not many at all.
If they're shooting like that, and that's why you don't want to play them, because they have the potential to shoot.
And like McDermott has the potential to drop 45 on you. I mean, it's just
scary. It's just how it goes.
You live by the sword and you die by the sword. So there could be a game where they go 2 for 18 from 3. Mm-hmm. Doug McDermott only shoots 5, goes 2 for 5. You know, I can't see him going over. I mean, worse than like 30%. But I just think that if they do struggle, that they're going to lose, and I think that they got to get this 3-pointer going. And it's not that they live by the 3-pointer, but it's such a weapon.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable.
That's what makes it. That's what makes them good, and that's why it makes it more of a benefit to them than a detriment.
Yeah, but I think it could become a detriment if they don't handle it right. If they come out and they miss their first 6 shots, and Doug McDermott's getting locked down, oh shit, it's not our night. We need to be careful. But I think that Creighton Villanova is going to be the final, and I don't know. It's hard to pick against Creighton, because of the way they dismantled this Villanova team, it's like Villanova can play against everyone in the country but Creighton.
Yeah, except
but
Creighton.
I can't see it not being a game.
I think it's gonna be a great game. I think that Creighton is going to do well in this postseason in general, just because. First off, it's a senior year. He wants to go out with a bang.
Yes.
And I think also personally he wants to get that draft stock up. I think he wants to be drafted. I think he wants to be drafted high.
He's what's the word? Disrespected by the fact that he's not even considered in the top 10, and he's one of the greatest scorers in the history of college basketball.
I agree. Yeah, I think.
And not only 1 year, he's been doing it for 4 years.
I think what makes NBA scouts so hesitant about him is that defense, but I think athleticism is one of the things that can come a little bit easier than maybe a shot or something like that. I think that with spending more time in the weight room, spending more time just on the court in general, I think it's a little bit easier to get yourself into the NBA shape.
And one of the reasons I heard this story, one of the reasons I love Creighton so much is because the coach, McDermott, is paying for his best players' tuition so he can have another scholarship player.
Yeah.
I think that's just the coolest thing ever. Mm-hmm. Like, what a coach. And what a kid. I mean, yeah, he's not paying for it. It's his dad. But still, the family dynamics there is awesome. And I think that they understand that this is their year. Everyone that's not Doug McDermott and Doug McDermott, and it's Greg, right? Greg McDermott, the coach. I think they all understand that they're not going to get to play with Doug McDermott ever again. Mm-hmm. And that this is their best year to make a run. And I can see them getting to the Elite Eight. I think the only way that they can get to the Final Four they can beat one of those top 5 teams in the nation. Because at that point, every team's playing really fucking good basketball. Mm-hmm. Is if they have one of those shooting nights where they go 17 for 30 from 3.
Yeah, and I just think it becomes more and more dangerous as the tournament goes on. Yeah, I think especially if they haven't had one of those yet and they're still beating teams, that's scary. That's just scary. I think they're one of the more scary teams in the tournament.
And I'm looking at the Creighton stats, and Doug McDermott is averaging 27. A guy named Ethan Ragg is averaging 10.5, and then they have 4 guys that are averaging 7, 1 guy's averaging 6. Who's going to be able to get buckets in the crunch time besides Doug McDermott? I mean, you can't ask Doug McDermott to get the last 25 points of the game.
That's the only thing.
Who's going to get those buckets? Who can score one-on-one? Who can create something in transition besides Doug McDermott? And I think that has less to do with the Villanova game. It has more to do with the NCAA tournament, which we'll get there. But that's why I still think Villanova has a chance. Because I think that they played them and they know what they did. Mm-hmm. And if they lose to Creighton and they get beat bad and they get whooped, I think that's going to be a huge implications on how far everybody has them going on the tournament. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like they can beat any team but Creighton.
Right.
But in terms of the Creighton-Villanova game, you want to say Creighton because they've already beat them twice. Yeah. You want to say Villanova because they've already lost twice. It's hard to beat a team that third time. Mm-hmm. But I think that Villanova's too good to not make this a game, and I think that this could be one of the better championship games. I think that all the championship games are going to be spectacular. I think the Big 12 and Big 10 are the only teams that are going to be good. The SEC is a different story. I think every game Florida plays is spectacular. But I think that this Creighton team is very interesting.
I think it's
and that
the
tournament's going to tell. This tournament is going to tell a lot because it's a one and done format, and I think the one and done has so much to do mentally, has so much to do with your mental. That it's completely different than playing in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be watching any of these games until the final. And even then, I'm definitely going to watch this final.
If it's Creighton-Villanova.
If it's Creighton-Villanova.
I don't see any other team beating Villanova besides Creighton. And I also don't see Xavier beating Creighton.
No, I agree.
I think that this is a very straightforward
tournament,
and I think that it doesn't. It's not really going to start until the final.
Yeah, and I think that there's not a whole lot of implications coming from this final.
If Xavier loses, they might get knocked out of the tournament because they're a very low seed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only answer I have to your
If they
question.
lose to Marquette, I think that they beat Marquette.
Well, that's what I mean.
Lose to Creighton close,
That's okay.
I think, yeah.
Even if they lose to Creighton, like they have to beat Marquette. If they don't beat Marquette, I think that's their play-in game. You know, that's their tournament game. But I think that if any of these teams win it, they're obviously in. Which most of these teams, if they went on to win it, they would deserve it. You know, not. They get that automatic bid because they won the conference tournament, but they would deserve it. I think that if St. John's or Providence can smash the other one and then beat Villanova, I think that's going to have the committee thinking. But I don't think that any of the other teams have a chance.
Yeah.
And the only way to have a chance is if you beat Villanova and Creighton without winning the tournament, but that would imply winning the tournament.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. I think Creighton comes out with it, just because
they've got Villanova's number.
They've got Villanova. Yeah, they just know how to beat them.
And for the sake of being a great roommate, I've got Villanova coming out of it.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, this will be a game with even higher implications now.
Yeah, maybe we will watch it.
Yeah, maybe.
There's the Big East tournament. Make sure you look at all our other ones. We've got all the major conference tournaments, all the interesting ones at least, with teams that have chances to get to the Final Four, have chances to make runs in the NCAA tournament. Because the reason we're doing these is sort of to prepare, to get everyone ready for the NCAA tournament, to get everyone to scout their last chance to scout, their last chance to look at the games that we think that you need to look at in order to have the best bracket.
Games that matter too. Seeing them play in one and done, win or go home games that have implications that matter. And
especially the teams that are on the bubble.
Of the team.
I think that the teams on the bubble, you want to see those teams that are out of the bubble jump on, because those are the ones that have confidence. Those are the ones that are playing well. You don't want to see teams that are on the bubble stay on the bubble and sort of sneak in with a bad loss or two, because then it's like they're not playing their best. But I also don't want teams that are just getting to the NCAA tournament and being satisfied. You know, I want hungry teams. I want teams that know that any given night they can beat a team like FGCU did Georgetown, like Lehigh did Duke. I think that any given night any team can win. I would never pick a 1 over a 16, even if it happened this year. But I think any given night on any of the other matches, that any team can beat any team on a given night. And I think that every team needs to know that, and that teams are more dangerous if they do know that, and if they really embrace that.
I totally agree. And they're especially dangerous because of the competitiveness of this tournament.
I couldn't agree more.
It should be a fun weekend, fun Selection Sunday.
And keep looking either Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully before the Dayton rounds, the first 4 games, we'll have our predictions up and our brackets up, and we'll break down. We probably won't have the breakdowns until Thursday.
We'll try to go through every game and make sure you guys are ready for all of your pools and stuff.
And we will show you. We will show you our brackets up to the Final Four, but we're not going to do as much discussing those games because we don't necessarily know if they're going to happen. We're gonna discuss the games that happen, but we're also going to give our predictions. You know, what's the NCAA tournament without filling out a bracket?
Exactly.
I know who I have winning. He probably knows who he has winning.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. Thanks for watching. Catch all of our other videos. We'll talk to you soon.